It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go. Welcome in on this Monday evening. Your humble host, Chip Washington, here with you for another edition of Real Talk Memphis. Glad you are with us wherever it is you might be with us from. And speaking of that, you can catch us in a couple of three different ways. If you're listening live, of course, right now, 91.7 WYXR. You could also pick us up on the Tunein app. Just put in WYXR in the search and press the button and you'll hear us. Or you can go to WYXR.org and you can hear us crystal clearly live. And as we are a podcast, sometime after tomorrow when they post it, you can hear us on wherever you get your podcast. You know, I like saying that kind of stuff. So anyway, I hope that you guys are doing okay. I hope that it has been a good week since the last time we were able to visit with one another. It's hot. Isn't it hot? It's hot. And so the temperature today, I think, was 96, I want to say. It was my car thermometer was like 96, 97 all the way over here. So it's pretty warm. So I hope that you follow all the hot weather, rules, drink plenty of fluids. I don't mean alcohol. I mean water. Drink plenty of fluids. Keep yourself well hydrated out there as well. We have a good show for you tonight, but I have to admit that I'm a bit sad, as many of us are, at the very sudden passing of Leon Gray. Leon died Friday at the age of 62. He was, in a word, wonderful. I mean, this guy, everybody in town knew him, and if you didn't know him, you wanted to know him. He was so deeply ingrained in the community, the city of Memphis, the county of Shelby. He worked for the county commission for about 10 years as one of their legislative liaisons. For the last 4 or 5 years, he's worked at the Juvenile Justice Court as an assistant to Judge Dan Michael. He has been a former radio personality. He has been a former television news reporter and anchor. He's done just about everything. And if you've had a party in this town, I'm sure that many of you have utilized his services as a mobile DJ as well. Big loss, really, really big loss. And if you have seen the newspaper or you've seen the social media content pages on Facebook, you will see just tribute after tribute after tribute to this man. We're going to dedicate this show. I'm dedicating this show to the memory of Leon Gray tonight, and we're also going to have a snippet from a show that he actually produced here. He and a young lady by the name of Miss Cookie did a program that aired right here on WYXR called Blues in the Basement, and it aired every Thursday from noon to 1. Very, very uplifting, entertaining show. The banter between both of them was really, really special. And we're going to play a couple of snippets, in tribute to him as well. As far as the rest of the show is concerned, hopefully you will like what you hear. My guest tonight will be Kevin Kern. He is the Vice President of Public Relations for Memphis Tourism. And, of course, now that most of the restrictions have been eased, a lot of folks back out in the street, a lot of folks back in the clubs, a lot of folks back in the restaurants and just getting out and about and doing their thing, which means cha-ching for the local economy. And Kevin is going to talk a little bit about how Memphis tourism as a whole is on the rise and what that means for the economy moving forward. We will also visit with Pastor Charlie Caswell. He's been a guest on our show before. He'll be back tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about all the violence that we're seeing in the city. I mean, it just seems like it's not just here, but it's everywhere. But we live here. So that's what I'm concerned about. And we also have the dawn of a new era today. We have our first female police chief in the history of the city of Memphis. Chief C.J. Davis was officially sworn in today. It's her first day as the top cop in the city of Memphis. Hopefully down the road, not too far distant future, once she gets through with all her other press obligations, we can get her on the show to talk a little bit about her agenda moving forward and how she plans on tackling the many issues we have in this city head on. And in the second half hour, we will have Michael Adrian Davis. He is the madman of morning radio. You can hear him each and every morning. I think it's 6 to 10 a.m. on 88.5, the voice of SCS. He is hosting an event this weekend. Of course, Juneteenth is a Saturday, and he's hosting an event that is going to pay homage and honor to various men in the community who have stepped up and have done great things to help in the service of others, and also fathers as well, as Father's Day weekend. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day is Sunday. Okay, so now I know that got a yawn from most of you, but let me say it again. Father's Day is Sunday, okay? Now, I know moms have their day, and usually, when Mother's Day comes, you can't find a place to eat in town. All the restaurants are full. Now that COVID is sort of backing away now, I think things are going to start to fill up and stuff. On Father's Day, plenty of good seats available, okay? Plenty of good seats available in restaurants. You guys know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. So look, take some time and honor the fathers in your life out there on this Sunday. Will you do that? Okay, good. So as we always do, we start the show off by celebrating you. So Adam, if you will, please, if you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, or graduation or other special event, this is your time, and congratulations to each and every one of you. Happy birthday to Ernest Cobb. Happy birthday to Gina Chisholm, Ashley Dandridge, Mark Pearson, Derek Dean. Let's see here. Erica Adams, happy birthday to you. And Regina Hughes, happy birthday to you. Yesterday was Mr. Trey Moore's birthday. Trey's been on the show. Great kid. Big time entrepreneur. He's going to make it big one of these days. And also, I don't know if you celebrated an anniversary this past weekend or today or whenever, but happy anniversary to you. I do want to do a graduation shout out. Marquette graduated. My producer Marquette. He graduated this weekend from high school. He is officially done. Also, Patricia McKinney. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. Anyway, she wanted me to make sure that I shouted out her niece, Liberty Downs. She graduated from Tresvant High School this weekend. So, Liberty, congratulations on your graduation. And all of you who graduated from the Shelby County schools or wherever this weekend, congratulations to you. Now it's time to get serious and go to work and find a job. How about that? Anyway, a couple of news notes before we move forward here. Let's see here. Well, I'm trying to figure out where I want to start here. There is still, COVID is still with us, by the way. Just in case you hadn't realized it now, many of the restrictions have been relaxed. But we still need folks to get vaccinated. Vaccinations mean something. Please vaccinate, and vaccinate so we can get back to herd immunity, so we can really get back to doing what it is we want to do. over the weekend. We had 4 folks that were killed over the weekend here in Memphis. This is a problem, not just here, but everywhere, okay? But if I don't mention it, then everybody acts like there's not an issue unless, of course, it personally affects you. So, again, it's tough out here. It's dangerous out here. And please, 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 please be careful wherever you are and whatever it is you happen to be doing. Pay attention to your surroundings and those around you. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a new police chief, C.J. Davis. Chief Davis is the first female in the history of the Memphis Police Department. She began her tenure this afternoon, and she's also the first outside selection in well over 20 years. And she's got a lot of challenges to face. I said this before, and I'll say it again. One person cannot solve the crime problem that we deal with in this city. One person can't do it, okay? It takes a village, and it takes all of us. And when I talk to Charlie Caswell a little bit later on in the broadcast, we will chat about that subject in particular. There was a unity walk this weekend against violence, for a unity walk for nonviolence this weekend. Hundreds of people showed up. And again, we asked the question, what can we do? I mean, how can we change things? How can we fix the problem? I guess it has a lot to do with being unified, having conversation, really getting into some substantive discussions. I happen to think that some deterrents need to be, made serious. In other words, if you commit a crime, you should be afraid to commit a crime for the penalty and punishment you get on the back end of it. And I don't see that happening. There are a lot of people talking about a lot of different things. Oh, single parents and this and that. That's nonsense. There's a lot of issues, and there's a lot of problems, and there's a lot of forces that are pulling our young people in various directions. And we just have to keep talking. We have to keep praying. We have to keep working to try to get them back on the right track. Did you know that they broke ground on a new sports complex that will be the centerpiece? It's a $126 million conversion of the fairgrounds, and it's going to be called Liberty Park. And it's going to have ball fields, it's going to have restaurants, it's going to have retail, and it's going to be a big deal down there by the fairgrounds, down there by the football stadium. It should be completed sometime in early 2022. It's going to host regional and national youth sports tournaments and activities. So it's a pretty big deal. So congratulations to the city of Memphis on that. And finally, Memphis' own Katori Hall. She's a playwright. She's an author. On Friday, she was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for her drama, The Hot Wing King. I like that title, The Hot Wing King. It has, I would imagine it has something to do with hot wings here in Memphis. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a good guess. But congratulations to her. Very, very talented young lady indeed. Okay, so as I mentioned at the top, a lot of us are reeling from the sudden passing of Leon Gray. Of course, many of you knew him. He was 62 years old. He died on Friday. He was a longtime TV and radio broadcaster. And as I mentioned, he co-hosted a show right here on this station called Blues in the Basement that is heard on Thursdays. And he was also a special assistant to the Shelby County Juvenile Court Judge Dan Michael. He died Friday. He was a faithful member of New Sardis Baptist Church. He was a Sunday school teacher. As I mentioned earlier, he was a radio personality with Clear Channel. He also worked at WDIA. He worked in radio in Houston, Texas. He was on television here in this town as a reporter at ABC 24, UPN 30. He worked at WDIA and various other radio stations in town, as well. Community outreach, giving back, giving to others, and not counting himself in the equation was what he was all about. A kind, decent, honorable man who leaves behind a wife and 4 adult sons and a whole host of family, friends, and colleagues. And you are all in my prayers. I'm praying for all of those who knew him, and that, God gives us the strength to carry on. But if he were here, he would want us to all carry on his work and complete his work, because what you give is what you get. And as we go to break, I want to play a little snippet of what was to be his last show, Blues in the Basement. he and Cookie, as we go to break, as we dedicate this show tonight to the memory of Leon Gray. I'm sorry. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to another edition of Blues in the Basement. I'm Leon, the leader.
And I'm Cookie B.
Cookie B, we got a lot of versus requests.
I'm so excited.
After we found out that people wanted us to do the versus show.
Why not join the game, right?
Let's join the game.
Let's do it.
Let's start out with something great. Two of the greatest blues artists of all time.
Yes, Betty Wright versus Millie Jackson.
A clean-up woman is a woman who gets all the love we girls leave behind. The reason I know so much about her is because she picked up a man of mine.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
This is Bishop Phoebe Roaf of the Episcopal Diocese of West Tennessee. Tune in every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. at WYXR 91.7 FM to hear conversations with community leaders about the role of faith in their lives. That's Faithfully Memphis, right here on WYXR FM.
Hey Memphis, my name is Ron Buck. I am looking forward to bringing you my show, Riverside, every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. I will be playing rock and blues, old and new, and featuring Memphis music and events. I hope you'll tune in to Riverside every Friday at 1 p.m. on WYXR 91.7 FM, Raised by Sound.
There's really nothing better than a box of records. Not even a bottle of beer. Drinks are gone in a matter of minutes, but vinyl just won't disappear.
Hi there, this is Zach Ives. My show, A Box of Records, plays every Tuesday night, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., right here on WYXR 91.7 FM, Memphis, Tennessee.
Get Real Talk on the Tunein mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. Chip here on this Monday. And we talked before the break about the fact that, of course, COVID restrictions are being loosened and a lot of folks are in the streets. A lot of folks are out in the streets and, things are getting busy all over again. And that means good news for the Memphis tourism and the Memphis economy. And to talk with us about that is a man I hadn't talked to in quite some time. But he is the Vice President of Public Relations for Memphis Tourism, and he is Kevin Kern. Kevin, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate you, man.
Glad to be here, Chip. Good to hear your voice, and great to be talking about things starting to get busier in Memphis now that more shots have gone in arms.
Absolutely that. So speaking of that, and I've seen you on a lot lately talking about the activity really picking up, and not only the restaurants and the other businesses and the hotels. So how is the outlook? How are things looking so far as the restrictions are being released?
Well, the tourism and hospitality industry, is the first to be impacted and the last to recover. And that's been true with economic crises, 9/11, and now the global pandemic. Right. And even on a much more wider scale, considering domestic and international travel was halted last spring. However, Memphis, coming out of the pandemic, as restrictions were lifted and Americans were getting a little bit more mobile and putting precautions in place with masking and social distancing, those that did travel, Memphis has outperformed the national average. So as we have moved into the spring, kind of really starting with the spring break season, Memphis has outpaced the national average throughout much of the pandemic, and even now 10% above the national average in terms of hotel occupancy, which is good news for our destination. And part of that is location. Yeah. This is within a day's drive of 2/3 of the country. And we've also had an aggressive marketing plan going to 600 miles within Memphis, kind of showcasing us as a drivable, affordable destination. So folks have been responding and showing up in our city, which is really good.
Absolutely that. Speaking with Kevin Kern, he is the VP of Public Relations for Memphis Tourism. And, speaking of that, Kevin, now there's always, the life is full of pluses and minuses. And of course, I think one of the things that the pandemic really caused from an economic perspective is the job force. And I think it's slow to return. And I think the hospitality industry and the restaurants are still struggling behind that. What can you tell us, about that whole effort to try to get folks back working again so people can really enjoy Memphis?
Well, Memphis is not just a great tourism destination, it is also a logistics center. So our city has played a pivotal role in moving goods across the country directly to homes. And of course, then even the vaccine itself moving through Memphis International with FedEx. So FedEx, Amazon having a large presence here, folks that found themselves furloughed or laid off at the start of the pandemic in our tourism and hospitality industry sector, some of them found work in those places, and it's hard to get them to come back. And, we're also a spot where you're really interacting with the public. So some people were apprehensive about that. But, for us as a tourism and hospitality industry, we're hoping to show folks that it's more than just a job, that tourism and hospitality can be a career. And there is upward momentum within, the structure of hotels and attractions and restaurants, et cetera. Especially with hotels, there's an opportunity to not only work here in Memphis, but also travel the world. And so we hope folks will see it as a career opportunity and more than just a job. But one of the most fun things I think about working in this industry is that you really do meet people from across the country and around the world working in this industry, and you get a global view. So going to one of our hotels is like almost a little mini UN, getting to meet folks from all over.
Absolutely. Talking with Kevin Kern from the Memphis Tourism Bureau. And, Kevin, one of the other setbacks, if you will, in terms of the economic overview was, us having to cancel major events, Memphis in May, and a lot of other things. How much of a hit did the economy take from your perspective in the tourism side of things, and how long do you think it will take to sort of recover that?
Well, tourism pre-pandemic was a $3.6 billion industry, accounted for over $100 million in tax revenue for the city, another $100 million in tax revenue for the state. Tourism being one of the largest industries in Tennessee. And when you kind of look at our workforce of 50,000 plus in tourism and hospitality across Memphis and Shelby County, that's a significant, number of folks impacted by this. And, while it certainly hurt, Memphis has fared better than the rest of the America. Even in some of the, midway through the last year, there are nights that Memphis outpaced Tampa, Florida, a coastal city, in terms of hotel occupancy over a weekend. So Memphis has done well. This past April, we actually captured 93% of hotel occupancy, 93% of what we actually had in April of 2019. So just 7 percentage points off of, matching 2019. So our market is bouncing back. We have certainly taken a hit. No hotel made any money during the pandemic. And, there were folks, some of my counterparts who work in, sales or PR and marketing, they were parking cars at valet, delivering room service, and flipping rooms throughout all of this. So, we've all had to do unique things throughout the pandemic, and our industry is resilient. And, folks, again, part of that upward momentum, you start out, we have Doug Brown, the Peabody GM, started out, as a dishwasher in a hotel. Now he's the GM of the South Grand Hotel, the Peabody. So it just shows you, what can happen working in this industry.
So as we move forward down the road here, we're into June, and as we get into the summer and fall and even winter, what can we look forward to from the tourism side of things here in Memphis and Shelby County?
I think you asked about Memphis in May earlier, and that, that it was a little bit of a tough pill to swallow with not having Beale Street Music Fest, which is always a really big kickoff to the spring season. However, Barbecue Fest weekend was still pretty strong for a majority of our downtown hotels, whether folks were coming to the contest or just getting out and about. Business travel is one of those sectors that is still yet to bounce back. Fortune 500 major corporations are not putting their employees back on the road unless it's absolutely essential. A lot of sales calls are still taking place via Zoom. But at some point, some of the predictions are is that late third, early fourth quarter, we'll start to see business travel pick back up, as well as group business meetings and conventions, that, once we have herd immunity and we perhaps see no more strains that will challenge the vaccine, Americans will be able to get back on planes with greater comfort, and companies will be able to send their employees back out without fearing any sort of repercussions of folks getting sick.
Well, I got to tell you something, my friend. It is nice to see life back downtown Memphis, as I'm sure that you're happy about that as well. And we just hope that things bounce back sooner rather than later. Kevin Kern from the Memphis Tourism Bureau, Vice President, Public Relations, and my longtime friend. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. And listen, as time moves on, next few months, maybe the first of the year, I'll have you back, and we'll talk about the outlook for 2022. How's that?
Please do. Thank you, Chip. Thanks for having us on. And, we just encourage folks to, if you've not been out to your favorite restaurant, get back out there and go see the folks and have your favorite meal. And if you feel up to it, hit the road and take a trip or be a tourist in your own hometown. You are the man. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Talk soon. Take care. Okay. Kevin Kern, ladies and gentlemen, from the Memphis Tourism, giving us the rundown on where things have been and where things stand currently. There's still some challenges out there, and we're slowly working our way back. We're slowly starting to pick up the pace a little bit. So, as he said, get out to your favorite, restaurant or movies, or hit the Beale Street, or do whatever it is you do when you out doing whatever it is that you do. Anyway, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we are going to bring it inward. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that we face as a city and as a community as we deal with crime. On the other side of the break, Pastor Charlie Caswell will join me. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back.
If you like real talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Janet, host of Jaunt with Janet, Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m., bringing you new releases in the rock, pop, and electronic genres with a little bit of the old fused in, all here on WYXR Memphis 91.7 FM.
Yo, what up? It is the president of Driven Type T, and you're now tuned in to Memphis' own WYXR 91.7 FM. The station with the city soul, man. Come on, you know what it is. Remember, never stop. Stay driven. Peace.
Get Real Talk on the Tunein mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis, ladies and gentlemen. Memphis peeps, wherever you are on this beautiful and hot Monday. So we have a problem in this city, like all cities do, and one of the more inherent problems that we're dealing with is crime. So we can't face it, and we can't deal with it if we don't talk about it. My next guest is someone who is on the front lines every single day. He is a pastor. He is a community activist. His main goal is to try to get Memphis to understand that there has to be a better way besides the violence that we deal with. He is my friend, Pastor Charlie Caswell. Charlie, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, blessed, man. I'm telling you, I'm blessed, but I'm sad about what we're continuing to see in our city. But yes, but other than that, I'm doing well.
Yeah. So listen, I wanted to get you on because you've always been honest, you've always been real, you've always been direct and straightforward. You're a pillar in the Fraser community, and unfortunately, a lot of the headlines that we see tragically emanate from that particular part of town. But Charlie, I'm just going to ask a straight up question. First and foremost, what keeps you up at night when you think about where we are as a society and why we just can't seem to turn the corner on this violence?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, what keeps me up at night is the fact that I know that that old saying that hurt people hurt people. And I know that I'm living in a community with many hurt people that from generational hurt, from trauma, from their childhood. And sadly, there is not a lot of resources to address and mitigate that hurt, not just as an adult, but even when from their childhood throughout. And so that's a lot of what keeps me up and keeps me going to get back up to do this work.
It is. It's always sad when we have to start out on a Monday tallying up the deaths that we have seen over the previous weekend. I know Friday from 12:01 a.m. early Friday morning until 5 a.m. we had 4 murders in the city of Memphis, and I think we had 4 over the weekend, so that's a total of 8. And now all of a sudden the top stories on every national newscast are about the mass shootings, the mass killings all across this country. You have started a nonprofit organization and are really trying to address, as you said, hurt people who hurt other people. Talk more about that and talk more about some of the other things that we need to be doing out here.
Yeah, and as you said it, Chip, I mean, I just got back not too long ago from Crossville, Tennessee, doing some training in that community, in Inglewood, California, doing some training out there. Just across the country, we all are seeing, before the pandemic, there was an epidemic. And that epidemic was the trauma that many individuals who grew up with and never had that trauma addressed. And that is stated from the Center for Disease Control called adverse childhood experience. And I'm talking about the same Center for Disease Control who told us to wear our masks, wash our hands, watch our distance. Way back in 1995 and 96, they told us that this epidemic was going to lead to those who had experienced 4 or more traumatic experiences before their 18th birthday, to them becoming at risk of 1,200 times more likely to attempt suicide, 50 to 60% more likely to use drugs and alcohol. So when I talk about what keeps me up is that very fact that we have been silent to this silent death of hurt and trauma that is now escalating as children, as young adults are getting older. We're seeing it played out in the streets. Even before, I think it was up into April, and a lot of people don't know this, there was some 40-some children shot accidentally, and some, with a gun in our community.
Absolutely.
That is a ripple effect of other children, family members that live with them, that's rippling out in our community. Those children are not being heard, not getting counseling, not getting support, so they are normalizing the violence that I saw as a 13-year-old when my best friend was shot in the chest in front of me. And then my friend the next year at 14-year-old shot in his head. And I normalized death and got numb to it growing up.
Charlie, and we're speaking with Charlie Caswell, community activist, pastor. Charlie, you mentioned especially the younger set. We are seeing violent crimes, murders committed by, young teens, 13, 14, 15 years old. I don't know that I would have ever thought I would see the day when this type of escalating violence has permeated our young teens. And that to me is extremely troubling.
Well, I knew it was coming, and this is why it keeps me busy, because that's what I saw at 13 and 14 and 15 years old. And many of my friends who are parents of these individuals who are now numb to this violence because they saw it. And sadly, they never got it addressed. So again, because they were empty and they had nothing to give, these children are sitting there empty and feeling like the only way that they can get something out of the attention is by doing what music videos and the music they hear on the radio about shooting up the club, shooting up the place. They think that's how they get their fame, watching this process taking place.
Do you think that, and you cited some really good examples, the internet, the social media, the music, the rapping, just exploiting violence, exploiting, behavior, where, somebody attacks somebody sexually and other things like this. The culture that we are dealing with out here, there's a whole nother culture, the rap and like you say, it glorifies violence and it glorifies a lot of negative things out here. Is that pull that strong, and is there a way to be able to change that perspective, if you will, for these young people?
I say it this way: there's nothing new under the sun. When a person is empty, they look for something to fill them. And when you don't have a community of individuals who have been loved or know how to show love, then it's easy for these young people to go out here and get a false reality that looks real. That's why gang members are so easily to say, hey, fam, come be a part of what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Now they feel a part of something, and they watch this glamorous life that's only temporary, but they're not going to tell them that it's temporary. So yes, social media, TV, sadly, televisions is telling the vision of these individuals who don't have no one to tell them what a real, normal, life's supposed to be like.
Speaking with Charlie Caswell here on Real Talk, and we're having some real talk here. And Charlie, there was a unity walk again this past weekend. Hundreds of folks show up for these things, and then it seems like 2-3 hours later, we're dealing with violent episodes all over again. I don't know that there's one answer, but I mean, but where do we start? What do we do? I know you talk a lot about filling the void, which is what I hear from you, filling the void internally, emotionally with these young people. But I mean, but I mean, what do we do? Where do we go?
If I'm hungry, I gotta eat.
Okay.
And if I'm empty, I got to get filled. And what we got to understand is that we're leaving our children and young adults and even some adults who are empty, and they eating off the prey of other individuals. Is sadly, they think like if I, in our community, if I put you down, that lifts me up.
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset has been normalized by people that have been traumatized. And they have seen it happen in their homes. They have seen it happen in their community, and they're seeing it happening on TV. So that is where, sadly, we're stuck right now. And so until we become trauma-informed and trauma-responsive as a community, meaning that if I see my brothers down, I got to find a way to lift them up.
Right.
And not even that, you know, you may not be my real brother, but I got to become my brother's keeper. And we have not normalized that type of relationship in our communities. That's why we are where we at, I think. Yeah.
Charlie, I want to close on this because I know that you knew him well, Leon, and I am dedicating this show tonight to him. Of course, you know, dying, you know, so suddenly the way he did at such a young age, Leon Gray. I wanted if you would to share a few of your thoughts in reference to him and some of the memories you have of him.
Well, you know, I tell you, man, there's so many of them. But Leon was a great guy. I met him back when we was working on the Brothers in Race, some 20-some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he always tried to encourage me. I was a young boy coming out the projects, again, looking at the zeal of life. And Leon really talked to me about that slowdown, understanding the processes in life. Like Charlie, even as we was meeting each other just over the years, hey, Charlie, it's a process to this. You just can't jump and it become that. And that helped me to be mentor and pass that down and pass that baton on to the younger people that I'm working with now. So that's what we need, more men like Leon Gray. When I think of Dr. Leon Gray, though I think he left us early, I believe he left us empty. He left us where he poured out his life to other young men like me, and others can say that we got something from that to pass on to the next generation.
Well, amen to that, man. And thank you for taking a minute to share your memories of him. I mean, his death has touched so many so deeply the past few days in particular. And more importantly, I want to thank you for not only coming on the show, but I want to thank you for your dedication. I want to thank you for your steadfastness. And I want to thank you for all you do to try to make things better here in the city of Memphis and Fraser, where you live, and in Shelby County as a whole. And you know, my friend, I'm going to call you again, and I'm going to invite you back, and I want you to come back on the show anytime you want, okay?
Yes, sir. Bless you, sir. You take care. Keep doing the good work.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Charlie Caswell, ladies and gentlemen, and, you know, spoke some truth. You know what? If you're empty, you need something to fill it up. But instead of filling it up with the negative, we got to try to work on filling it up with more positive reinforcements. And again, as I said earlier, I have dedicated tonight to Leon Gray. And you heard Charlie had some wonderful words about him. And I was struck by what he said at the end. He left us empty. He was empty. I mean, he gave everything he had, everything he was to this city and to this community to try to make it a better place. All right, we're going to take one final break. And when we come back, we are going to talk to Michael Adrian Davis, the madman of morning radio. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip, and stay with us. We're right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Thanks to the support of you, our listeners, WYXR's inaugural pledge drive was a resounding success. In addition to donations from the public, we are proud to thank our matching sponsors, including Sterling Building Specialists, Crosstown Dental, Involve Client Services, Grinder Tabor Grinder, Nexair, and Bible and Tired Record Company. We are grateful for your generosity and assistance in striving towards our goal.
WYXR is brought to you by Crosstown Concourse, your home for a summer of rediscovery. With over 1 million square feet of space, both indoors and outside, dedicated to hospitality, curiosity, and fun, Concourse is here for you to safely venture back into the world and reconnect with friends, family, and community. To learn more about upcoming events and specials, visit crosstownconcourse.com.
The Orpheum Theater Group presents the new On Stage at the Hollerin Center season. The 21 through 22 season brings a diverse array of live entertainment to downtown Memphis, including a music series, orchestra unplugged series, songwriter series, and an illusion series. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
The stuff that WYXR brings to the airwaves is already playing in the parking lots and basements where the next generation's journey is just getting started. And we can't imagine building the brands we do without the role music played in our lives. No matter what kind of art you make, music is what sets you on your path. Loaded for Bear is proud to support WYXR and community radio everywhere.
Tone, in partnership with Unapologetic, presents a Juneteenth family reunion. With a new name, new brand, and new strategy in tow, the Orange Mound-based nonprofit Tone partners with the innovative arts and culture ecosystem Unapologetic to deliver a Juneteenth celebration that looks and feels like a family reunion. The celebration of the legacy and freedom of those who came before us will feature live music, food trucks, games, and more, and will be hosted at the site of the newly announced Orange Mound Tower and will be free and open to the public. However, capacity will be limited to maintain social distancing. Guests must RSVP at tonememphis.org.
Get Real Talk on the Tunein mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis. I'm your host, Chip Washington. And with me right now is a man who is no stranger to the radio airways in the city of Memphis and the county of Shelby. He is who I would like to call the madman of morning radio. He is Michael Adrian Davis. You can hear him each and every weekday morning on 88.5, the voice of SCS. And he is with us now. Michael Adrian, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me? Are we connected?
Man, we are connected, my friend. We are connected. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And so is my audio good? I need to talk louder?
You're fine. You're good. You're good. You're 10-4, as they say in the business here. So listen, I'm going to ask you about our friend Leon here at the end of our interview. But Juneteenth celebration is this weekend. and you are hosting a special event for men who have gone above and beyond, and fathers as well. Please tell our audience about that.
Man, I've got like a three-prong approach to the foundation. So many know me from the radio guide, TV, and things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
I've kind of transitioned, although I still do radio, as you've already stated, but kind of transitioning to using my brand to kind of do another mission. So anyway, to that point, to your point, we are celebrating fathers who've gone above and beyond, and also we're also fishing for the men who still have skills and desires and hopes and dreams, but may have lost their way due to whatever reasons, whether it's the fault of their own or just some circumstance that befell them. Whatever the case is, if they want to return back to a lifestyle of self-sustainability, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to offer them that path to that end. So with that being said, the social event that we're having, Chip, right now they have like the Isley Brothers versus the OJs,
Yeah,
or,
versus
Monica versus something.
Yeah.
So we decided, the team decided to come up with Juneteenth versus Father's Day.
Okay.
So I've learned from another event that I had for years with Richie Florist owner, Sharon Coleman. We used to do an event for fathers, and we learned that Saturday was a better day than Sunday. You know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to take their dads, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why this event falls on a Saturday, which happens to be June 19th. Now, of course, many may or may not know, and I know we limited our time, so I'll talk quickly about, in Galveston, Texas, when they read the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes.
A couple of years after everybody else knew about it, so to speak. So that's a celebration that goes on. And so what we're having is Juneteenth versus Father's Day here in it's 901 Chelsea Park. It's right across the street from Dave Well Community Center.
Right.
And this is really a community effort. And so I'll stop there, and if you have any questions, I can answer.
Well, kind of break that down for us. What can people expect if they come to your event?
All right. So what we've got is basically once you come in, you'll register your name, phone number, address, and then we'll take your temperatures, and we'll give you a wristband if you're a father, and we'll give you a couple of tickets if you're a sibling or a child of the father to come on in and have a good time. When you come in, we've got face painting. We'll have balloon toss. We've got horseshoe tournament that's going on for the old heads that want to get in here. We even talked about today the art of double dutch is really about to be lost when this next generation leaves here. You know what I mean? So we're going to hopefully find 5 people in the whole crowd that knows how to do double dutch, and give them 15 minutes to teach a young person that they didn't know how to do it, and then they'll win cash and prizes if that person does well. So anyway, just a lot of fun. We got horseshoes, as I said, spades, dominoes. We'll even have a chess tournament, because a lot of kids over here in North Memphis, contrary to popular belief, are really into chess, and we're going to start teaching chess classes on every Thursday here at some property that's here in North Memphis. But also that's from 11 o'clock until 6 o'clock. And of course, for those who wear any type of African garb, whether it's a bracelet or a dashiki or a hat or whatever, you're going to get a free healthy snack. And just by wearing that, a free refreshment. And of course, for the fathers, we're going to have grilled smoked sausage, hot dogs, hamburgers, and some vegan food for the fathers as well. We'll have a rap battle if we can pull that off, and a father's fashion show, which we're going to ask all the dads to come up. They don't know it yet, but we're going to have them come up and strut their stuff. And so we're just going to have some fun, man. It's all about neighbors, learning neighbors, talking to each other, and getting out of the house to know who you're really living with every day.
We are speaking with Michael Adrian Davis, longtime radio personality, 88.5, the voice of SCS, about his event going on this Juneteenth weekend. And Michael, you were telling me before we were chatting about some of the folks that you're going to be honoring some folks in this town too who have really done some positive things. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. We were talking about the 4, staples of the Klondike, Smoky City area and Bear Wall and some other areas.
Yeah.
They kind of reached past that, but I'm talking about the 4 barbers in this area, Mr. Nate Napoleon, over here with Nate's Barbershop over here across from Dave Wells. Also, we've got a barbershop right there on Klondike. Mr. Stewart has that. He's been over there he personally been there 29 years, but his uncle had it almost 60 years. So they've been in the community there. And then, of course, you've got Mr. Bland here with Bland's Barbershop, and Mr. Warren Lewis. Man, what can I say about that guy?
Yeah.
Who used to cut hair with fire. And he was actually on Jay Leno and all that. So we're going to honor those guys just to say that all that work, and it's called Beyond the Cut. That's the name of the award. It's called Beyond the Cut because
like
they
that.
went just above beyond just cutting hair.
Listen, and that sounds like a fun time. We want everybody to come out and enjoy themselves and participate in all of the good events and activities that you have. But I would be remiss. I have dedicated this program to our friend Leon Gray, who left us much too soon. And I know you knew him for a very long time. You guys look like you could be brothers. But share, if you will, some of your memories of him.
Man, when I first, because I've been in the game about 30 years now, and Leon, so anyway, but when I first really started getting to some kind of notoriety, he was already the man, so to speak, in doing TV reporting, and his face was out there, you know what I mean? And I was just a voice. And so people, when they finally began to see me starting hosting programs, they would always think I was Leon Gray, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they would send pictures of us side by side, and so it was that kind of thing. We had a fun little thing going every time we saw each other, but he was always somebody that I respected. And I think he did what I'm kind of getting into now, where you kind of move from success to significance, where you try to really make a difference, not just because a company pays you to be a spokesman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did the traffic. I mean, he did the news stuff. He did when he carried somebody else's water and had to be, live up to their standards and all that kind of stuff. But I can almost remember the time when that light kind of turned on for him, where he kind of felt that he no longer wanted to. He may still carry water to pay the bills, but he was going to be about what he was about. And as you said earlier on my show, that was about the young people. That was the youth. I think when they started those tours, taking kids to, and he was serious about this. He used every resource he had. He called in every favor. You finna say something?
No, I'm just listening. I'm listening to you.
He called in every favor that he had, man. He went for broke to make sure these kids that may have been underprivileged got a chance to see something that could broaden their horizon and change their lives. So, when we say to somebody, and I definitely, we feel they left too soon because, we want them to be around here for our own selfish reasons, to be able to reap in their talents and their gifts. But man, I think he went into warp speed when the spirit unctioned him to do so, where he left a legacy that wasn't just about being on this TV station or that TV station. It wasn't just about how many Emmys or what if he win any awards. If you ask some people around here who now have kids, who went to college and created a life and a career for themselves because of the motivation and the unctioning of Leon Gray, then I'm telling you, man, then the world is made a better place because he was here.
Amen, man. Couldn't have said it better. Michael Adrian Davis, thank you, man, for coming on the show. Best of luck this weekend, and keep doing what you're doing, man. We appreciate you.
And I just want to say, if anybody want to get at me, you can go to michaeladriandavis.com, and that's a form you can fill out there if you want to be a vendor or anything want to go on. But we're not even having really vendors. But if you have something that you want to come out and expose to the community, whether it's about something good or positive, we got space for you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Man.
All right, take care. All right. Michael Adrian Davis, ladies and gentlemen. And as we've mentioned several times during this broadcast, this is a tribute to Leon Gray. And as I prepare to get out of here now, I want to try to follow his example and be about something. If we can do something on this show to make life better for other people or expose folks to something positive, something beneficial, something that means something, then that's what I'm all about on this show. I made a pledge a long time ago to reach one, teach one, and pull folks in and make people understand that there is a better way out here beside some of the roads that we are going down. And Leon Gray was a man who lived that each and every day of his life. So if the Lord says so, I'll be back here, same time, same station next week. In the meantime, in between time, please take care of each other, watch over each other, support and encourage each other, lift up, don't push down. And before we go, one final soundbite, if you will, of Leon and Cookie on their show, Blues in the Basement. God, may you rest in peace, Leon, and may your memory always be a blessing. For all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, I'm Chip, and I'm out.
Last time.
I was going to say, that was a long song for you to still be thinking back.
Well, she said some, it takes a little longer. I would not call anything.
But she also said, I want y'all to play catch up. I don't want you to be at the end of my song. And you said, oh, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, see, that's Cookie. Oh, yeah, now I remember. Lord have mercy.
No, Lord, help me.
Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. We are having a lot of fun with this show. Don't forget, put your request on Facebook on our page.
Yes.
Kazuki, then Blues in the Basement. Leon, Cookie, I want to hear whatever that is.
Whatever it is.
And we'll try and get that on for you.
Like the old folks say, we'll oblige.
We'll oblige you, baby. And we're going to holler at you, too. You don't do shout-outs, but we do hollers.
I like the holler.
We're going to do a holler. Yeah, you want a holler?
Is that a holler?
Yeah.
Woo!
A hymn and a holler.
Oh.
It's real talk. Yeah. With the main Chip Washington. It's real talk. Man, it's real talk. With your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw.